Michigan, and he's joining me from Capitol Hill. Congressman, great to see you. Do you need legislation to prevent this particular Asian carp from infesting these waters?
Well, we do. The Attorney Generals have sued from the surrounding Great Lakes states, led by Michigan's Attorney General Mike Cox, but the Supreme Court did not hear their case. The Asian carp are right at the edge of the lakes, or we fear they may have already gotten in, and the concern is the environmental and economic devastation. It's about a $15 billion cost, hundreds of thousands of jobs, the destruction of one of the world's largest freshwater ecosystem. It is a major catastrophe waiting to happen. So we want an immediate closure of the locks so the Army Corps and EPA can come up with the right way to make sure these fish never get into the Great Lakes.
This is an issue with Illinois, is it not? Why won't that state and its leaders work with you more to avoid what is a costly and lengthy battle through the legislative process? Well, courts process first and then legislative.
We're trying to work with them. I think the concerns that Illinois raises, I think we can address. There will be some economic problems, but certainly shipping and using trucks to go around the canal while we get a final solution to this problem is something they can do. And also they're worried about flooding, and we believe certainly people take priority, and if we need to open the locks because of flooding, which they have about every 10 years, but what we want to do is make sure there's a long-term answer, so the flooding's addressed, so the locks don't have to be open, but most importantly, that we don't have this havoc potentially being brought on the Great Lakes because of what Asian carp do to the ecosystem. They eat everything other fish eat, and they grow up to 100 pounds. And the commercial, as well as the sport fishing side of the Great Lakes, is about $15 billion. Right. So the problems that the Great Lakes face dwarf anything that the city or area surrounding Chicago might face.
But why wasn't this problem taken care of earlier? This has been decades in the making, has it not, Congressman?
It has. I've been working on it for years, trying to get the electronic barriers in place, but what we've had trouble is that the government agencies have just not taken it seriously, whether it's Army Corps of Engineers, EPA, or Fish and Wildlife. It has not been a priority, and what we're trying to do is close the locks so there's a priority for a solution that will mean the fish don't get into the lakes. And what we found is the barriers are not as effective as they should be. When there's power outages or flooding, they don't have enough berming, and there's several rivers that come together at this point, and there's water flowing from one into another, and it has not been addressed in a comprehensive way that will ensure the integrity of the Great Lakes basin. We think that's important. The president, when he ran for office, said that he had zero tolerance for invasive species in the Great Lakes, has that on his website, and even mentioned Asian carp. And so we want to hold the administration to that promise and make sure that they ensure that there's zero tolerance and no Asian carp get into the Great Lakes.
Congressman, though, you have to answer what many people have to be thinking with all the problems in this country and the world. First and foremost, the mushrooming debt here. This is what you're worried about?
Well, I am. It's almost 400,000 jobs in the Great Lakes area, and certainly Michigan with the highest unemployment for the last 4 years. Jobs are critical, but even more than that, this is the largest body of freshwater in the world. This freshwater ecosystem would be destroyed, and I think the catastrophe that potentially could happen is a significant one, and one that deserves the attention of the Congress, and I hope that we can get action on our legislation soon.
Dave Camp, Republican Congressman from Michigan. Thank you, Congressman. You're following me on Twitter, I noticed. I will follow you back. I will follow you back. Take care. How much is your home really worth? A code aimed at keeping home appraisers honest